Season finale time. That's the United Nations. Oh, and this is all the chaos happening in the world.
Guys, we gotta work together to save the climate. Beat it. We're too busy for that plot arc.
I think...
Plot arc? Yeah, we're focused on the World War III plot arc right now.
Yeah.
Last season was COVID, but that sucked. China vs. Taiwan is booked after this. Maybe we can do the climate arc in a decade or so. Everyone burning to death will make a great season finale.
True.
I think you mean series finale.
Yes, there's a difference. Series finale is when the whole show comes to an end. I mean, I don't know. How is the series going to end, though? It very much could still be World War III, since we have Russia versus Ukraine and Israel and Iran. The USA literally mentions it's going to be China versus Taiwan next. I feel like the entire world's watching out for that one. I have to say, I think World War III is probably going to be the series finale. That's just my opinion. At least we'll go up in a bang. True, the arc after World War III is going to be the Stone Age arc. Yeah, that post-apocalypse, we got to make sure we have a season on that. Got to go something like World War III, then nukes, then radioactive fallout, then Black Sun, then Ice Age, then rising temperatures solved. That is how we could maybe solve things, with like billions perishing at the same time, though. I love the idea that Russia is now in the lower league, with China being higher enough on the bet. I mean, let's be real. The USA's #1 enemy is definitely China. The Russians are like, kind of like, if like Lord of the Rings, they're like Saruman, China's Sauron. Like, maybe we'll fight the dude on the left for like a movie, but ultimately this series is going after the dude on the right. That video was by Pole & Ball Official. Please go subscribe. And also, if you want your own Pole & Balls to hug and love, check out makeshift.com for the Philippines, Vietnam, and Thailand. They'll be gone. Let's explain the Middle East a bit more.
We've drawn your borders at random. But to make up for it, you can all grab a gift from my hat.
There's a gift.
I got the oil.
Nice.
I got the oil.
Nice.
I got the oil.
Nice.
I got the oil.
Wow.
I got the oil. I got the oil.
They all got the same gift.
I got the olive oil.
Oh, except for Lebanon. They got left out. This is kind of how the French and the UK did it. Remember, they are the ones that were just drawing straight lines in the Middle East after all, kind of causing all the problems that we're dealing with now. The video didn't feature Israel, but Israel's a part of the equation as well. Yeah, the Brits and the French both just kind of did this fun little school assignment. It was definitely a fun task where they did not regard groups of people and their history and ethnicity in the same borders. They just kind of drew some stuff. But you know what? At least y'all got oil. Well, except for Lebanon. You were one of the very, very few countries in the Middle East that do not produce any oil. I mean, they kind of got extremely unlucky. They are one of the smallest countries in all of the Middle East, and it's actually not even close. At least you got access to the Mediterranean. Not that that makes it much better, but sorry, I should say you do have oil, just probably not the one that everyone's thinking about. Speaking of the gift Iran got, you got the gift of invasion during the 40s of World War II. I do know one country that'd be happy with that olive oil, though, Lebanon. Definitely don't let the U.S. know all the gifts you are giving out to people USA and France. Olive oil is 12 times more expensive per gallon than gasoline. Gifts from the desert. You can definitely say that again. The Russian horse. Uh-oh.
America fell for trap. Soon he bomb.
He bombed the... Oh.
Нет. Soon he mini horse.
Mini horse?
What?
How does that work?
Wow.
Oh, it's because they let the Russians organize this plan. God dang it, Russia. China told Russia to make a horse gift, and Russia just did their old traditional gifts. We're basically talking about Russian dolls, how whenever you pick one up, they just keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller. You know, I don't think the US would mind this gift too much. They might be a little bit confused, but I'm sure they'll take it. And to think, I just thought we were going to be talking about Trojan horses or something like that. This is one of the biggest problems, China having to be friends and allies with Russia. They get a little confused at times. Next thing you know, the Statue of Liberty is going to be speaking French, as if the French built the Statue of Liberty. China, I'm starting to see why the Soviet Union lost to America. I just now realized, is this the 2025 version of No Germany and Italy? Is that essentially what we've got going on here? The Chinese are now the Germans, and Russia is the Italians. Oof.
Now what am I going to do with all this plastic garbage?
I wonder.
I don't know. I'll just burn it.
America, that is bad for environment.
That's not a good idea.
You must recycle plastic.
Okay, Germany knows how to do that. Is that Indonesia? Oh my God. Okay, I see what we're getting at here. We're talking about how Western countries oftentimes ship their trash to, well, non-Western ones, Indonesia being an example, but there's also like the Philippines. Meanwhile, once they get it all the way over there, they burn it instead. Bam, my conscience is clear. You basically have two countries. You can just cut out the middleman or give the middleman some money to do it for you. Thank you. That's nice, Germany. Big reason for this is because of the stricter environmental regulations that a lot of Europe or North America have on themselves. So we're going to protect the globe globe by, instead of affecting the globe on our side, we're going to ship it to the other side of the globe, then affecting only that side. Yes, I like that logic. It's actually the Philippines of all these nations that have to deal with a lot of it. No matter what you do, everything ends with arson. Stupid America, you must give garbage to Southeast Asian nation, then blame them when I burn our garbage. Yes, when I was covering some previous posts about this topic, that was a very big thing that came up. Those countries were not very happy. As an Indonesian, it is quite common to see burning garbage in the garden near my house. We're talking the G7 here.
I'm leaving early. I've got to secretly go bomb a nondescript country in the Middle East.
Oh.
But you're the most important member. We need your valuable input.
But doesn't the US
America.
do this all
Can't,
the
sorry.
time?
Gotta do what you gotta do.
Uh-oh.
He is gone.
Party? Yeah, I figured they're loving it. They of course gotta pretend at least they're gonna miss us, but in reality, nah. The G7 are massive economic countries, the USA being obviously the number one, but there's also Canada, the UK, France, Japan, Italy, and Germany, and we've been leaving annual G7 meetings quite a lot, pretty much the last like 25 years to, bomb random countries in the Middle East. That's just normal for us to leave early. Basically, all 7 of these countries are major IMF advanced economies. There's also like a G6. Isn't there like a G9 and G10? Oh wait, there used to be a G8, but that was with Russia. They had to kick them out. Rare footage of Britain and France getting along and actually agreeing on something. That's gonna be a thing that kind of continues to push those two countries together, them despising the US. Finally, adults can discuss real issues in silence. History
Morning, class.
Good morning.
Aw,
Today
in
we study
Canada.
Canadian history. All right, open
Nice.
your books.
History of Canada. Oh, I gotta have to
Chapter
read
1.
those posters.
War crimes.
Yes, let's start there. Bro, Canada has gotten away with some of the most insane things they've done in their history just because, well, the US definitely overshadows them. Like, the US has probably done a lot more, but Canada's done some crazy stuff up there too. Just look at the war crimes they were committing in World War I, it's crazy. They also did very similar horrific things to the native populations up there. The double standard that Canada gets is wild. Like, I think it's kind of funny. In the eyes of the world, everyone loves Canada, but man, if you've gone into their closet, they got some skeletons. I just find that so fascinating. No one cares though. Basically because don't be like me, this USA poster in the background. Read books. Yeah, we don't know how to read in America. That's for a bunch of sissies. Readnish. Book fair, December 32nd. Out of all the war crimes the Canadians have done though, this one is probably the most famous, throwing cans of food at the German trenches while they keep catching them, and then eventually the Canadians instead just throw out a grenade. Have you ever caught a grenade? That must be fun. Canada at a lecture, then the greatest war crime of all happened. The Geneva Convention, a terrible law that discriminates against us Canadians. Here are some of the other chapters more than likely this Canadian history class is going to be studying soon. It's not a war crime the first time, eh? The man has a point.
Aircraft carriers.
Aircraft carriers.
Around the world.
A lot of countries have them. We have China with their aircraft carriers. We have the UK with their Queen Elizabeth. We've got the US with some aircraft. Oh. This is the blown up aircraft carrier that Russia has. Don't bomb. Don't open, bomb inside. Oh, don't bomb, open inside. With drones. Yes, Ukrainian. This is the Ukrainian aircraft carrier. It's a Porsche. They're very good at getting rid of Russian aircraft carriers. Bro, the Ukrainians have managed to make so much military technology basically completely useless now in 2025. Aircraft carriers kind of being one of them. Drones basically acting as artillery at this point. And I thought we were going to talk about the Japanese aircraft carrier. They don't call it an aircraft carrier. It's a helicopter carrier, which is different. Very different. They're not technically allowed to have aircraft carriers after World War II, but they can have helicopter carriers. They are, however, extremely tiny though. They're nowhere close to as big as American aircraft carriers. I mean, you don't need all that runway basically to have the planes take off. Bankruptcy.
I declare
That's Sri Lanka.
Bankruptcy!
When they declared
Sri
bankruptcy.
Lanka. You cannot just say and expect something to happen.
I didn't say it, I declared it.
Very
He's
true.
right. He has a $3 billion loan from the IMF.
Bam! Saving Sri Lanka overnight. That's essentially what happened. This is also a reference to The Office, if you're a big fan of Michael Scott. And you know what? I mean, I've never been to Sri Lanka, and I don't hear much more about them outside of 2022 and all those protests and things like that, but seems like things are going pretty well from the outside. They got their loan. They're doing good. Of course, it's India of all nations to tell Sri Lanka, bro, you can't You can't actually do that. The small island nation off the coast of India is actually about to hold presidential elections since the last time they declared bankruptcy in 2022, for the first time since 2022. Basically, the country is showing signs of economic recovery. However, there's still plenty of challenges they still face over there. The way Sri Lanka said bankruptcy sounded more like a declaration of war. Well, they are declaring war on not having money. Sri Lanka's like, our biggest export, coffee and clothes. Meanwhile, our biggest imports, IMF loans, Chinese loans, Indian loans, Japanese loans. For the first time ever, you can buy Sri Lanka. Well, maybe not for the first time. You've probably been able to do that in the past too. Oh, look, it's Laos. Watching.
I wish I had friends.
Aw.
Laos, do you want to hang out with us?
Ooh.
Yes, no one has ever asked me to hang out.
Nice. Oh. They're gonna send you to the front lines in Ukraine. I see. Meanwhile, there's like a dead Russian soldier and dead North Korean as well. Is Vietnam and the Philippines actually this friendly? I'm not 100% if that's the case. Definitely the Vietnamese and the Philippines, they bond over their mutual, they don't like the Chinese. That's all I'm gonna say. Laos has had an extremely rough history. They're still an extremely poor country. I wouldn't be surprised if Russia tries to lure them in by sending them to the front lines of Ukraine. Talk about lousy friends. Friends? No, we call them extra soldiers. Oh, so Vietnam and the Philippines, that is referencing military drills against China. Again, it is mostly to like counteract China between those two. Laos officially supports Russia for Russo-Ukrainian war. A lot of people chiming in from Vietnam saying that they love Laos. In fact, they're more like a little brother. Japan,
American aircraft carrier.
stay away from our boats.
I destroy.
The Hawaiian music. Is this Pearl Harbor? This is definitely about Pearl Harbor. Yes. Definitely, I'm getting a whole ton of SpongeBob vibes there. Not only because of the Hawaiian music, and obviously SpongeBob used a bunch of Hawaiian music in their series, but yeah, this is basically, oh, I'm pretty sure this is a direct reference. Maybe not a direct reference, but yeah. I'm basically just thinking of this. Honestly, this has been America's strategy in every war since our conception. We're just going to outproduce you. You could completely obliterate one. We do not care because we've got 700 more coming to the front lines. Kind of funny how we were just talking about aircraft carriers and Japan and, well, I guess the USA, but yeah. To be fair, Pearl Harbor was a little bit more stressful. The USA was definitely not looking at Japan just like, oh yeah, whatever. We were freaked out for a little bit there, but we eventually figured it out. Yeah, Japan was about to figure out pretty much why we Americans don't have free healthcare. A lot of countries that have to figure out the hard way why we don't have free healthcare. SpongeBob reference on Squidward with the alarm clocks. In the trenches. World War I trenches.
I never thought I'd die fighting side by side with a frog.
With a frog.
Not side by side with friend.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Still, no.
Yeah. This is not going to be a Lord of the Rings moment. This is definitely not Legolas and Gimli coming together. Funny, because I made a Lord of the Rings reference earlier. I mean, to be fair, even though they did fight on the same side in the World Wars, obviously both of them, 1 and 2, there was still a little bit, a tiny bit of like, you know, weirdness between them. They were both very clearly on the same side, but did they dislike each other still? Kind of, a little bit. There was some disrespect. From this moment, Britain and France will become friends without calling each other Frog and T. Man, the French got to get a better nickname to bash the Brits. You just call them T? Frog is so much worse. Fun fact, Tolkien's experience in World War I did, in fact, leave a mark on Lord of the Rings. Excellent work. Yes, remember, they're talking specifically World War I. This is like the first time those two had fought side by side in a while. Well, they kind of fought side by side of the Crimean War a little bit before that, but this was on the world stage. This is how we won. We refused to die fighting side by side with each other, but we did fight side by side. We just chose not to do the whole dying part. Oh, I just learned about this one.
But landmines are bad.
Canada.
It was always a stupid treaty. If you had an aggressive superpower on your border, you'd want landmines too. You're right.
That's really funny. So this is referring.
That's it?
This is referring to the fact that this landmine treaty is actually called the Ottawa Convention. And yes, countries like Poland, Finland, Ukraine. Well, Ukraine's a little bit different, but Poland, Ukraine, like all the Baltic states, they are now leaving this treaty so that they can technically begin to produce and possibly even set up landmines. These are all countries that border Russia, by the way. So you can kind of see why. But yeah, so Canada doesn't understand why the Ottawa Agreement or Convention, I think is what it's called, has to be left until they realize, oh, that's right, we do border America. Maybe we should leave that agreement too. We should put up some landmines. This is what happens when you try to make the Canadians your 51st state. When the sorry stops, the war crimes begin. And the landmines are in a straight line for miles. Remember, that US-Canadian border is the longest border in the earth, in the world. It's the longest contiguous border between just 1 and 2 countries. US thinking the talks about the 51st state thing just being friendly banter. No, it wasn't. Again, all those amazing shorts were by Poland Ball Official. Please go subscribe. And if you happen to be a fan of the Philippines, Philippines, Vietnam, or Thailand, you can check out that link down below to makeshift.com. Thank you to my patrons this month. Drew seems like the kind of guy who never loses the remote. Drew's Argentinian Trust Fund, Rip Grandpa. Drew Supremacy League, Alexander the Terrible, Carmel S, Connor Pavlik, Douche Baggins, Frederick Tiblin, King, Bear Hayes, Luxembourg Lover, Miglu, The Goat, Nolan, Lord Tyrol, and Tambrin